A typical family is defined by loving parents, happy children, and a reputable legacy. However, El Chapo's family is different. It was the talk of the world for such an unusual reason: narcotics. The family, especially his son, Ovidio Guzman Lopez, turned the Sinaloa cartel into a war zone. How did he do that? Stay tuned with me as we discover the unusual events in the life of the Guzman family. Ovidio Guzman Lopez was born in 1990 and witnessed how his father operated a multi-million-dollar cartel all through his life. His parents enrolled him at a private school that was based on the Legionnaires of Christ doctrines when he was 5 years old. They took delight in grooming youngsters into reputable men and women in the society. In 1993, El Chapo was sentenced to a 20-year imprisonment for drug trafficking and bribes. As a result, Lopez had a difficult childhood because his father's reputation was a lot on his resume. Everyone in school, including his parents, knew that Ovidio Guzman Lopez was the son of El Chapo. They did not include him in events or birthday parties. They once planned a trip to Disney World without him despite his mother's promise to pay for everyone's room. Ovidio Guzman Lopez was in his 4th grade when El Chapo escaped from prison in 2001. Well, it was not his last prison break, right? Anyway, Ovidio Guzman Lopez had been known as El Raton, or the Mouse. There are a few write-ups regarding the rest of his boyhood, but joining his father in the Sinaloa cartel when he was 18, and quickly became an important member of the organization. Every year, he contributes to the production and trafficking of hundreds of pounds of narcotics. The United States Treasury Department placed Ovidio Guzman Lopez and his brother Ivan Archivaldo Guzman Salazar on a do not deal list in 2012. All of the American assets were immediately frozen and the brothers were unable to conduct business with any U.S. citizen. The walls appeared to be closing in after more than 13 years on the run. Their father was apprehended 2 years later. El Chapo's second arrest was made by the Mexican Navy on February 22, 2014, in a beach resort in Mazatlan, Sinaloa, only for him to organize a successful prison break the following year. Nonetheless, Lopez and his brother Jesus Alfredo Guzman Salazar, as well as certain cartel associates including Ishmael Zambada Garcia, had taken control of El Chapo's cartel operations. The cartel grew in size and began trafficking Colombian cocaine to the United States alongside Mexican-grown cannabis. The cartel grew richer and made millions on a regular basis. On January 8, 2016, El Chapo was arrested again a year after his son, Ovidio, was arrested in Mexico for money laundering but subsequently released. As for El Chapo, he was apprehended in Los Mochis, and the Mexican government never liked a third escape, so they extradited him to the United States on January 19, 2017. El Chapo had to defend himself against a 17-count charge. Despite having the financial means to hire the best lawyers, he was unable to get loose on this one. In July 2019, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. Back in Mexico, Lopez and his brothers used the earnings from their cocaine and cannabis activities to diversify the Sinaloa cartel's portfolio. They soon acquired significant quantities of ephedrine, a vital ingredient in the production of methamphetamine from Argentina. They expanded the operation by constructing over 10 new illegal labs throughout Sinaloa to process the substance into crystal meth and begin distributing the finished product to criminal distributors in Mexico, US, and Canada. The organization was doing well, producing millions of dollars. But in 2019, the U.S. government charged Ovidio Guzman Lopez with conspiracy to distribute methamphetamine, cocaine, and cannabis. While Ovidio was making millions, El Chapo's imprisonment seemed to signal the end of a dangerous cartel reign. Ovidio Guzman Lopez turned his father's Sinaloa cartel into a war zone. On April 2, 2019, months before El Chapo was sentenced to life imprisonment in the U.S., a federal grand jury in Washington, D.C. indicted Ovidio and his brother Ivan with conspiracy to distribute more than 5 kilograms of cocaine, 1,000 kilograms of cannabis, and 500 grams of methamphetamine. They were supposed to be extradited for the U.S., but no one knows where both young Guzman were hiding. It was not an easy task for the Mexican government. They devote significant resources and effort to locating them. And at long last, Ivan was apprehended but managed to overcome the soldiers and summoned hundreds of sicarios to protect Ovidio. So when Mexican forces approached Ovidio's home cartel, they opened fire from within. Yet another intensive shootout. They were able to enter the house and apprehend Ovidio, who surrendered unharmed. However, the war was far from done. Hundreds of cartel members sped through the city in vehicles armed with sophisticated weapons. They started setting cars on fire to block important crossroads, shut down the airport, and seized government buildings. They also freed imprisoned traffickers. Throughout Mexico's history, they never witnessed anything of this size. It seemed that Mexican security forces lacked the ability to fight. The authorities were not given a choice but to free Ovidio Guzman Lopez. El Chapo's iconic escape from the Altiplano prison would most likely be at the top of the list, with Lopez's incident following close behind. What a family trait! This means that if any force is going after someone in the Sinaloa drug cartel, you must play smart and execute a long-term plan even after the drug lord surrendered. The Sinaloa gang put more pressure on President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, who assumed office in December 2018, pledging to pacify a country tired of drug war and bloodshed. The number of murder cases was continuously increasing. Suspected cartel members eventually intercepted a radio channel used by the security personnel. Automobiles were reported to have been set ablaze, effectively closing down trades and travel. Messages apparently from the Jalisco New Generation cartel were spreading on social media, declaring that the gang was implementing a curfew. The letter advised homeowners to run back to their houses or risk being attacked. And so, where is Ovidio Guzman Lopez following the attempted arrest in his home? Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador defended his decision to release Ovidio by claiming that it was done to safeguard citizens. For him, you cannot fight fire with fire, and they do not want death anymore, and the nation can't afford to go to war. The apprehension of a drug kingpin cannot be more valuable than the lives of the Mexican people. While El Chapo is still serving a life sentence plus an extra 30 years at Colorado's ADX Florence Supermax prison in the United States, the whereabouts of Ovidio Guzman Lopez, Ivan Guzman, and Ishmael Zambada Garcia continued to perplex both Mexican and American authorities. The U.S. government has offered a $5 million reward for relevant information that would lead to their arrests. Most people believe that Ovidio Guzman Lopez has continued to supervise the Sinaloa cartel's activities, moving millions of dollars every month and ordering the assassination of competitors or government informants. Before Christmas of 2021, he organized a massive outdoor event where he raffled out 8 new cars, distributed bicycles and household appliances, and provided toys for the children who lived around the area. And guess what? All having his father's initials inscribed on them. Why do you think Ovidio Guzman Lopez would do such acts? Is he planning something bigger? Let us know your thoughts.